Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about something that touches every one of us: pain caused by others. Whether it's a harsh word, a betrayal, or simple disrespect, we've all felt the sting. But here's the question: how do we respond? You see, most people react. They let that external event trigger an internal storm. But if you're here, it means you're ready to go beyond that. Because the truth is, reacting keeps you chained to the past. And when you're chained to the past, you can't create a new future. Let me share with you 6 powerful insights to help you transcend this reactive state and step into your true power. Let's expand on you are not your emotions. You are the observer, in the style of Dr. Joe Dispenza, weaving in deeper insights, storytelling, and practical examples to really drive the message home. When someone hurts you, the immediate reaction is emotional. You might feel anger bubbling up, frustration tightening in your chest, or sadness sinking deep into your heart. That's normal. That's the body doing what it's been programmed to do over years, maybe decades, of living in a reactive state. But here's the truth most people don't realize: you are not those emotions. Let me say that again because it's the foundation of real transformation. You are not your emotions. You are the one observing those emotions. Think about it. When you're angry, there's a part of you that's aware of that anger. When you're sad, there's a quiet voice somewhere inside that notices the sadness. That is the real you, not the anger, not the sadness, but the awareness of it. Most people live their lives identifying with their emotions. They say, I am angry, or I am hurt, as if these emotions are their identity. But emotions are just experiences. They come, they go, they rise, they fall. You are the constant. You are the observer, the witness behind the emotional storm. Imagine standing on the shore, watching waves crash against the rocks. The waves are powerful, chaotic, sometimes overwhelming, but you are standing still, untouched by the water. The waves are like your emotions. They come and go, but you don't have to be swept away by them. You can observe them, feel them, and let them pass without losing yourself in the process. Now, let's go deeper. When someone says something hurtful to you, your body immediately triggers a reaction. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, and your mind floods with defensive thoughts. This is a survival response. It's your body's way of protecting you from perceived danger. But the thing is, you're not in real danger. Your life isn't being threatened. It's just an emotional response based on past conditioning. And this is where your power lies. In that split second between stimulus and response, you have a choice. You can react automatically, letting that old programming take over, or you can pause, observe the emotion rising within you, and choose a different response. This is not about suppressing your emotions. It's not about pretending you don't feel hurt or angry. It's about creating space between you and the emotion. It's about realizing that you are the sky and your emotions are just passing clouds. The sky doesn't become the storm. It simply holds space for it until it passes. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in traffic and someone cuts you off. Your immediate reaction might be anger. You might feel that surge of frustration, your hands gripping the steering wheel tighter, your heart racing. In that moment, you have 2 options. One, identify with the anger. I'm so mad right now. How dare they? You replay the event in your mind, fuming, letting it ruin your entire day. 2, observe the anger. Ah, there it is. That familiar feeling of frustration. You notice it, you acknowledge it, but you don't let it control you. You take a deep breath and let it go. Which one feels more powerful? The first keeps you trapped in a cycle of reactivity. The second sets you free. When you start to observe your emotions instead of becoming them, you begin to rewire your brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt, means that every time you choose to observe instead of react, you're creating new neural pathways. You're teaching your brain a new way of being. Over time, you become less reactive, more present, and more in control of your emotional state. But it doesn't stop there. When you observe your emotions, you begin to understand them. You start to see patterns. Maybe you notice that you always feel defensive when someone criticizes you. Why is that? Maybe it's because deep down, you're carrying an old belief that you're not good enough. And here's where the magic happens. Once you see the pattern, you can change it. Observation leads to awareness. Awareness leads to understanding. And understanding leads to transformation. This practice of observing your emotions is a daily discipline. It's not always easy. There will be times when the emotions feel overwhelming, when the waves crash hard and you feel like you're drowning. But even in those moments, you have the power to anchor yourself in awareness, to say, I see you, anger. I feel you, sadness, but you are not me. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating this observer mindset. When you sit in stillness, focusing on your breath, you become acutely aware of the thoughts and emotions that rise to the surface. You learn to watch them without attachment, without judgment. And over time, this practice spills over into your daily life. You become less reactive, more centered, more aligned with your true self. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop reacting, you stop giving your power away. No one controls you. Not the person who hurt you, not the situation that triggered you. You become the master of your inner world. And when you master your inner world, your outer world transforms. Because here's the truth. Life isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. And when you respond from a place of awareness, from the seat of the observer, you create a life filled with peace, clarity, and purpose. So the next time someone hurts you, remember this: you are not your emotions. You are the observer. Stand firm in that awareness. Let the waves crash, but know that you are the unshakable shore. And in that knowing, you'll find a freedom that no one can take away from you. Does this expanded section align with the style and depth you are looking for? Here's an expanded version of Every Reaction Reinforces the Old Self in the style of Dr. Joe Dispenza, diving deep into the mechanics of how reactions shape our identity and how we can break free from that cycle. When someone hurts you, it's easy to react. Maybe it's a sharp retort, a defensive stance, or even just that internal dialogue playing on a loop in your head, replaying the hurt over and over again. But here's what most people don't realize. Every reaction you have reinforces the old version of yourself. The self that is tied to past experiences, conditioned emotions, and automatic behaviors. Let's break this down. Your brain is like a sophisticated recording device. Every thought, emotion, and reaction creates a neural pathway. The more you repeat a reaction, the stronger that pathway becomes. It's like carving a groove into a record. The more the needle runs through the same path, the deeper the groove gets, and the harder it becomes to play a different tune. So when you react to hurt or pain the same way you always have, whether it's anger, frustration, or withdrawal, you're firing and wiring the same neural circuits. You're telling your brain, this is who I am. Over time, this becomes your identity. You start to believe, I'm someone who gets angry when disrespected, or I'm someone who shuts down when hurt. But the truth is, that's not who you are. It's just who you've been conditioned to be. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself in this same emotional loop, reacting to situations in ways that feel almost automatic? Maybe you've had moments where you thought, why do I always respond like this? It's because your brain has memorized that reaction. It's become familiar, and what's familiar feels safe, even if it's not serving you. But here's the good news. Familiar doesn't mean permanent. Just because you've reacted a certain way in the past doesn't mean you're doomed to repeat it in the future. The brain is incredibly adaptable. This is the science of neuroplasticity, the idea that your brain can change, grow, and rewire itself based on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The key is to interrupt the cycle. When you feel that familiar surge of emotion rising, whether it's anger, resentment, or hurt, That's your cue. That's the moment where you can either reinforce the old self or step into the process of creating a new one. Every time you choose not to react, you weaken that old neural pathway. You're telling your brain, I'm not that person anymore. And in that space between stimulus and response, you're planting the seeds for transformation. Let me give you a real world example. Imagine you're in an argument with someone close to you, a partner, a friend, a colleague. They say something that triggers you, maybe even something they've said before. Your old self wants to react. Maybe that looks like raising your voice, shutting down, or throwing a past mistake back in their face. But what happens when you pause, when you take a breath, observe the emotion rising within you, and choose not to engage in the old pattern? In that moment, you're doing more than just avoiding a fight. You're rewiring your brain. You're teaching your body that it doesn't have to live in survival mode. You're signaling to your mind that you're ready to evolve beyond the old narrative. But it's not just about avoiding conflict, it's about who you're becoming in the process. Your reactions are like votes for the kind of person you believe yourself to be. Every time you react the same way, you're casting a vote for the old self. But every time you choose a new response, calm instead of anger, curiosity instead of defensiveness, compassion instead of resentment, you're casting a vote for the future self. And here's the thing. The more you choose the new response, the easier it becomes. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, even unnatural. That's because your brain and body are used to the old way of being. But with practice, the new response becomes the default. You're literally becoming a new person, neurologically and emotionally. Now, I want you to think about the bigger picture. When you react to hurt, you're not just reinforcing an emotional pattern, you're reinforcing your connection to the past. Every reaction keeps you anchored to old stories, old wounds, and old identities. But when you choose not to react, you're freeing yourself from those chains. You're stepping into the present moment where true change happens. Because here's the truth, you can't create a new future if you're living from the emotions of the past. You can't step into a new version of yourself while holding on to old reactions. The future you want, the peace, the growth, the fulfillment, exists on the other side of those automatic responses. So the next time someone hurts you, pause, feel the familiar emotion rising within you, and then choose differently. Don't react out of habit. Respond out of intention. Because every reaction reinforces the old self, but every conscious choice creates the new you. And that, my friends, is how you transform your life, one choice at a time. Does this expanded version capture the depth and tone you are looking for? Let me know if you'd like any adjustments or further exploration. Here's an expanded version of Your Energy is Your Currency. Don't spend it on negativity, in the style of Dr. Joe Dispenza, focusing on how energy management shapes our lives and personal transformation. Let's talk about something most people overlook but is central to creating a fulfilling life: your energy. You see, your energy is your most valuable currency. It's more precious than money, more powerful than time, and yet, so many of us give it away carelessly, especially to negativity. The question is, are you investing your energy in building your future, or are you spending it on things that drain you? Think about this for a moment. Every day you wake up with a certain amount of energy, like a bank account that gets replenished overnight. But unlike money, you can't just go out and get more energy when you've spent it. Once it's gone for the day, it's gone. So how you spend it matters. Now, here's the problem. Most people unconsciously hand over their energy to the things that don't serve them: anger, resentment, gossip, arguments, and dwelling on past hurts. Every time you react negatively to something or someone, you're making an energy withdrawal. And guess what? The person or situation that triggered you, they're not the ones paying the price. You are. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had a small interaction ruin your whole day? Maybe someone cuts you off in traffic, or a colleague makes a snide comment, or your partner says something insensitive. You replay that moment over and over in your mind, fueling your anger or frustration. Hours later, you're still thinking about it, still feeling the tension in your body. What happened there? You didn't just lose a few seconds in traffic or a brief moment in conversation. You lost hours of your precious energy. You handed over your emotional and mental resources to something that doesn't deserve that much power over you. And here's the kicker: the person who hurt you, they've probably moved on, but you're still carrying the weight. This is why I say your energy is your currency, and you have to start treating it like something valuable. You wouldn't hand out your hard earned money to every person who annoyed you, would you? So, why do we do that with our energy? But let's take this even deeper. In quantum physics, we know that where your attention goes, your energy flows. The more you focus on something, whether it's positive or negative, the more energy you're giving it. And in giving it energy, you're amplifying it in your life. So when you focus on negativity, you're not just reacting to it, you're inviting more of it into your reality. Your thoughts and emotions are electromagnetic signals that you're broadcasting into the universe. When you dwell on negative experiences, you're essentially telling the universe, this is what I'm tuned into. Send me more of this. And the universe, it responds. It matches the frequency you're emitting. That's why when you're stuck in a negative mindset, it feels like everything starts going wrong because your energy is attracting more of the same. But here's the good news: you can change the channel. Just like you wouldn't sit through a TV show you hate, you don't have to sit in a negative emotional state. When you catch yourself reacting to negativity, pause and ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? More often than not, the answer is no. Now, this doesn't mean you ignore your feelings or pretend everything's perfect when it's not. It means you become selective about where you invest your energy. You acknowledge the hurt, but you don't let it take over. You recognize the anger, but you don't feed it. You process the emotion and then redirect your energy towards something that uplifts you, that aligns with the life you want to create. Let me share a simple yet powerful exercise to help with this. The next time you feel your energy draining, whether from a negative interaction, a stressful situation, or just your own thoughts, do a quick energy audit. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, where is my energy going right now? Is this where I want it to be? If the answer is no, visualize pulling your energy back. Imagine it like light, retracting from the negative situation and flowing back into you. Feel yourself becoming lighter, more centered, and then consciously decide where you want to direct that energy. Maybe it's toward a project you're passionate about, a goal you're working on, or simply being present with the people you love. This is how you take control of your energy. This is how you stop being reactive and start being intentional. And here's where the real magic happens. When you stop spending your energy on negativity, you free up space for creativity, inspiration, and growth. You open yourself to new opportunities and experiences that align with your higher self. You start to notice that life feels easier, more joyful, more abundant. Why? Because you're no longer weighed down by the energy of things that don't serve you. Imagine what your life would look like if you invested your energy in things that truly matter: your passions, your relationships, your personal growth. Imagine waking up every day feeling energized, not because your circumstances are perfect, but because you've mastered the art of managing your energy. That's the power you have, and it starts with a simple decision. Stop spending your energy on negativity. Protect it, guard it, invest it wisely, because your energy isn't just influencing how you feel today, it's shaping the reality you're creating for tomorrow. So, the next time someone tries to pull you into negativity, remember this: your energy is your currency. Spend it on what makes you grow, not on what holds you back. How does that resonate? Let me know if you'd like to explore another angle or expand further. Here's an expanded version of the external world is a mirror of your inner state in the style of Dr. Joe Dispenza, diving deep into the connection between our inner world and the reality we experience. Let me ask you a powerful question. What if everything you experience in the external world is simply a reflection of what's happening inside of you? What if the people, situations, and circumstances you encounter every day aren't random, but mirrors showing you exactly what you believe, feel, and think at the deepest levels? You see, most people go through life believing that the world is happening to them. They think their happiness depends on external conditions, whether it's their job, relationships, finances, or health. If things are going well, they feel good. If things aren't going their way, they feel frustrated, stressed, or defeated. But here's the truth most people don't realize: the external world isn't causing your emotions, it's reflecting them. Let's break this down. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every belief you hold sends out a signal, a vibrational frequency. This isn't just spiritual philosophy, it's rooted in quantum physics. At the quantum level, everything in the universe is energy. Your thoughts and emotions are energy, and they carry a specific frequency. When you consistently emit a certain frequency, the external world begins to mirror that back to you in the form of people, experiences, and circumstances that match your inner state. This is the law of attraction at work. Like attracts like. If you're radiating positivity, gratitude, and abundance, you'll attract more experiences that align with those feelings. But if you're stuck in fear, anger, or resentment, you'll find the world reflecting those emotions back to you in the form of challenges, conflicts, and obstacles. Let me give you an example. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a bad mood, everything seems to go wrong? You spill your coffee, you hit traffic, your boss is more critical than usual, and by the end of the day, you're convinced the universe is against you. But what's really happening here? It's not the universe conspiring against you, it's your inner state shaping your perception of reality. When you're in a negative emotional state, your brain is wired to look for evidence that confirms how you're feeling. This is called confirmation bias. Your mind seeks out experiences that match your beliefs and emotions. So if you believe the world is stressful and unfair, you'll start noticing all the things that reinforce that belief. But here's the powerful part. When you shift your inner state, your external reality starts to shift too. Let's flip the script. Think about a time when you were feeling amazing, when you woke up energized, excited, and grateful for the day ahead. Suddenly, everything seems to fall into place. The people around you are friendlier, opportunities show up out of nowhere, and even small inconveniences don't bother you. That's not a coincidence. You're radiating a high frequency energy, and the world is mirroring that back to you. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait for the external world to change before they allow themselves to feel better. They say things like, I'll be happy when I get the promotion, or I'll feel better when my relationship improves. But that's backward thinking. You have to change your inner world first. When you cultivate the feelings of joy, abundance, and love, before your circumstances change, the external world has no choice but to mirror those feelings back to you. This is why meditation and mindfulness are so powerful. When you take time to go inward, to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you begin to understand the patterns that are shaping your reality. You realize that you're not a victim of your circumstances. You're the creator of them. And when you consciously choose to shift your inner state, you become a magnet for experiences that align with that new energy. Now, let's talk about the people in your life. Have you ever noticed that certain people trigger you more than others? Maybe it's a coworker who's always negative, or a family member who pushes your buttons. It's easy to blame them for how you feel, but here's the deeper truth. They're mirroring something within you. That negativity you see in others, it might be reflecting unresolved frustration or fear within yourself. That judgment you feel towards someone else, it could be pointing to areas where you're hard on yourself. The people who trigger us the most are often our greatest teachers. They show us where we have work to do within ourselves. But this isn't about blaming yourself, it's about taking your power back. When you realize that the external world is a mirror, you stop trying to control everything outside of you, and you start focusing on what you can control: your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. And here's the beauty of this understanding. When you take responsibility for your inner state, you begin to see the world differently. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Difficult people become mirrors for self-reflection. And life becomes a playground for personal transformation. You're no longer reacting to the world, you're co creating with it. So the next time you find yourself frustrated with your circumstances, pause and ask yourself, what is this reflecting back to me? What's going on inside that's creating this experience? And then, instead of trying to change the world around you, shift your focus inward. Cultivate the feelings you want to experience and watch as the world begins to mirror those feelings back to you. Because at the end of the day, the external world is just a reflection of your inner state. Change what's happening inside, and the world around you will transform in ways you never imagined. How does that resonate with the message you're aiming for? Let me know if you'd like to explore another angle or go deeper into a specific aspect. Here's an expanded version of The Power of the Present Moment in the style of Dr. Joe Dispenza, focusing on how living fully in the now can transform your life. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you were truly present? I'm not talking about just being physically somewhere, going through the motions of your daily routine. I'm talking about being fully, completely, and consciously here, in the now, without your mind wandering to the past or racing toward the future. For most people, the answer is rarely, if ever. And yet, this is where the secret to transformation lies. The present moment is the only place where true change can happen. It's the only space where you have the power to create, to shift your reality, and to step into the person you want to become. But here's the challenge. Most of us are addicted to living in either the past or the future. Let's start with the past. Many people wake up every morning thinking the same thoughts they did yesterday, feeling the same emotions they've been conditioned to feel, and repeating the same behaviors. They're stuck in a loop, replaying old stories and reliving past experiences. Maybe it's a mistake they made years ago, a relationship that ended badly, or a time when someone hurt them. They're not just remembering the past, they're emotionally living in it. And because their thoughts and emotions are anchored in those past experiences, they keep attracting more of the same into their lives. Now, let's talk about the future. Other people are constantly worrying about what's next. They're anxious about what might go wrong, stressed about what they need to do, and focused on goals they haven't yet achieved. Their minds are racing ahead, trying to control outcomes, avoid mistakes, and anticipate problems. But here's the thing. When you're always thinking about the future, you're living in a state of anxiety. You're projecting fear into what hasn't even happened yet. Both of these patterns, being stuck in the past or obsessed with the future, disconnect you from the most powerful place you can be, the present moment. Because here's the truth. The past is gone and the future hasn't arrived yet. All you really have is now. And when you learn to fully embrace the present, you tap into a power that can transform your entire life. Let's dive deeper into why this is so important. From a scientific perspective, your thoughts and emotions are not just intangible experiences. They're real, measurable forms of energy. Every time you think a thought or feel an emotion, you're creating an electromagnetic signature in your body and brain. This energy doesn't just stay inside you, it radiates outward, influencing the reality you experience. But here's the key. You can't change your energy if you're stuck in the past or worried about the future. You can only shift your energy in the present moment. This is where the magic happens. This is where you can break free from old patterns, create new neural pathways, and align your energy with the life you want to live. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're trying to create a new habit. Let's say you want to feel more confident. If you're constantly thinking about all the times you failed in the past, you're reinforcing the belief that you're not confident. On the other hand, if you're always worried about whether you'll succeed in the future, you're feeding anxiety and self-doubt. But if you bring your awareness to the present moment and focus on how confidence feels right now, you begin to embody that new state of being. You're no longer waiting for confidence to happen in the future, you're creating it in the now. This is why practices like meditation and mindfulness are so powerful. When you meditate, you train your mind to focus on the present moment. You become aware of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. You observe your emotions without being controlled by them. And in doing so, you create space to choose new thoughts, new emotions, and new behaviors that align with the life you want to create. But it's not just about sitting in meditation. The present moment is available to you at all times. It's in the way you drink your morning coffee, the way you listen to a loved one, the way you take a walk outside. When you bring your full attention to what you're doing, you shift from being reactive to being intentional. You stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. And here's where the real transformation happens. When you live in the present moment, you step into a state of flow. You're no longer resisting what is, you're embracing it. You're no longer trapped by past regrets or future fears. You're free to create from a place of authenticity and power. And the more you practice being present, the more you realize that everything you've been seeking, peace, joy, fulfillment, is already here in the now. But don't just take my word for it. Experience it for yourself. The next time you find your mind drifting to the past or racing toward the future, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the rhythm of your breath, the sensations in your body. Remind yourself, this moment is all I have. And in this moment, I have everything I need. Because here's the truth. The power of the present moment is the power to transform your life. And it's available to you right now. All you have to do is step into it. How does that feel? Let me know if you'd like to adjust the tone or expand on a specific aspect. Here's an expanded version of forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you, in the style of Dr. Joe Dispenza, focusing on how forgiveness frees us from the emotional weight that holds us back. Let's talk about a concept that most people misunderstand: forgiveness. When you hear that word, what comes to mind? For many, it's seen as something you do for someone else, as if forgiving someone means you're letting them off the hook, excusing their behavior, or even inviting them back into your life. But here's the truth that can shift your entire perspective. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. Holding on to anger, resentment, or betrayal is like carrying around a heavy backpack filled with emotional bricks. Every grudge, every past hurt, every memory of someone who wronged you adds another brick to that load. You might think you're punishing the person who hurt you by refusing to forgive, but the reality is you're only punishing yourself. Let's dive into why this happens, not just emotionally, but biologically. When you think about a painful memory, your body doesn't know the difference between what happened in the past and what's happening now. Your brain reactivates the same neural circuits, your body releases the same stress hormones, and you experience the same emotional and physiological response as if it's happening all over again. That means every time you replay that betrayal or that hurtful comment in your mind, you're reliving the pain. Think about that for a second. The person who hurt you might be living their life unaware or unaffected, while you are the one trapped in a cycle of emotional suffering. You're giving them power over your present by holding on to the past. But here's the powerful part. You have the ability to break that cycle. And that's where forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's not about forgetting, condoning, or even reconciling with the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is about releasing the emotional charge that's keeping you stuck. It's about saying, I refuse to let this situation control my thoughts, my emotions, and my energy any longer. Because here's the thing, when you hold on to resentment, you're stuck in the past. And when you're stuck in the past, you can't create a new future. You can't step into the best version of yourself if you're dragging old emotional baggage with you. Let's take it a step further. From a quantum perspective, your thoughts and emotions create your reality. When you're consumed by anger or resentment, you're broadcasting that frequency into the world. In the universe, it matches that energy. You start attracting situations, people, and experiences that reflect that unresolved hurt. But when you forgive, you release that low frequency energy and make space for higher vibrations. I know what you might be thinking, but you don't know what they did to me. You don't know how much they hurt me. And you're right. The pain you've experienced is real and it matters. But ask yourself this: How much longer are you willing to let that pain define you? How much longer will you allow someone else's actions to dictate your happiness, your health, and your future? Forgiveness isn't about them deserving it, it's about you deserving freedom. Let me share a powerful story to illustrate this. There was a woman who attended one of my workshops. She had been holding onto anger for years because of a betrayal by a close friend. This resentment had seeped into every area of her life, her relationships, her work, even her health. She struggled with anxiety, sleeplessness, and chronic stress. But during one of our meditation sessions, something shifted. She realized that holding onto this anger wasn't hurting her friend, it was hurting her. In that moment, she made a decision to forgive, not for her friend's sake, but for her own. She visualized releasing that emotional weight, and something incredible happened. She felt lighter, freer, more at peace than she had in years. And over time, her health improved, her relationships deepened, and her life transformed. That's the power of forgiveness. Now, forgiveness isn't always instant. Sometimes it's a process. It might take time to release deeply ingrained emotions, and that's okay. But every time you choose to let go, even a little, you reclaim a piece of your power. Here's a simple practice to help you start. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Bring to mind the person or situation you're struggling to forgive. Notice how it feels in your body, where the tension is, what emotions arise. Now, visualize that person standing in front of you. Imagine saying to them, I release you. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. I refuse to carry this burden any longer. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders. Feel your heart softening. You're not doing this for them, you're doing it for you. And here's the beautiful part. When you release the emotional charge, you're not just freeing yourself from the past, you're opening the door to a brighter future. You're making space for joy, for love, for new experiences that align with the person you're becoming. So the next time you find yourself holding on to anger or resentment, remember this: forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. It's the key to unlocking your freedom, your power, and your ability to create the life you truly deserve. How does that resonate? Let me know if you'd like to explore another aspect or refine it further.